Back on the Chad Hasty Show, News Talk KFYO. Thank you for tuning in today. We've been talking about the governor's announcement yesterday. And joining us on the phones this morning, glad to have our next guest, the founder and president, Michael Klein of the Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance. Michael, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the show.
Absolutely. Glad to have you on the program. So the governor of Texas yesterday announcing that restaurants and museums and all these other places can open at 75% capacity on Monday. But bars, traditional bars that have not, I guess, gone through the loophole process and applied for a new license, if they serve whatever the amount of food is they need to serve, they can't be open beginning on Monday, even at like a 25% capacity. Obviously, you're not too happy about what the governor had to say yesterday.
Well, I think it's not surprising considering the disastrous way in which anti-business Abbott has handled this entire ordeal since March. So, our members who have been closed now for a second time, 100% since June 28th, or most of them are at their end, financially, emotionally, and after listening to what the governor has said over the past couple of months, positivity rates, Labor Day, all of these benchmarks he wanted to meet, which we've met, and then yesterday when everybody was hoping for some positive news, for to get the most disappointing news they could have gotten is angering, but I also think, like I said, it's not too surprising considering the way that his lack of leadership has gotten us to this point.
What when it comes to some of these bars that have been able to reopen under a new license, what separates them from other bars that are not able to do so? What are the steps that they have had to gone through, which not every bar is able to do?
Well, the short answer is a sandwich from your local 7-Eleven.
So why? Because we've had other listeners who have asked, why don't all bars just do what some of these other places have done?
Well, all bars are doing that, and look, we welcome any path forward so that our businesses can at least be open and not 100% closed. But what that TABC change in regulation in the redefining of what constitutes a restaurant in the state of Texas effectively did was it eliminated every single bar and nightclub in the state of Texas. So, while we're happy to have a path forward, that not only costs about $1,000 in administrative fees, you have to wait in line. I mean, TBC has actually been a very good organization, and they're doing everything they can to quickly process these applications. But you can imagine if you were sitting on your desk and then a pile of thousands of applications came in, it's taking a little while to go through them.
Right.
So you have to wait in line and wait for that magical call to let you know that serving a sandwich or chips and salsa makes you not a public health threat any longer and that you can open your doors.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing what chips and salsa can do for the coronavirus.
Chips and salsa.
we had no idea.
We never, if only would have known that was the answer. So, what we're most disappointed about is that, the governor told some untruths in his statement yesterday, one of them being that they've tried to work with, they mentioned he kind of mentioned our organization. They have not worked with us. We have presented a plan with a much more stringent set of rules to follow for the 51% licenses in order to safely reopen for both our customers and our employees. And we've not even heard back. And if they didn't want to talk to us, they've had an opportunity to answer to many, to the press or to the general public. And they have not responded to us. We had a much better plan in place with much stricter rules and regulations everyone was willing to follow in order to reopen as the businesses were before March.
What do you
the other thing, I apologize. The only other thing I would say is, he says as if this is scientific fact that the only thing we know for certain is that bars are super spreaders. Well, first, we believe that this has a cover-up for that disastrous $300 million plus contact tracing fiasco that he instituted. But if we take that, which is absolutely not true, there are plenty of studies that have shown that states that stayed open and left bars and casinos open had flattened the curve, and Texas, as of August 18th, was the only one of those states that compared them to where the bars had been closed for over 60 days, and the curve had skyrocketed. So that had absolutely no effect on flattening the curve, and it unnecessarily put our businesses out and didn't even have his desired effect.
Visiting with Michael Klein here on the Chad Hasty Show. What do you think's the real? What do you think's really going on here? Because I hear some of the craft brewery places they've been shut down. They haven't been happy with the governor in a while, but they're really unhappy now. You have wineries that are shut down. Is this a campaign contribution deal? Is this just the governor not liking bars? Is there something else going on behind the scenes that the public just doesn't know about?
Sure. Look, let's talk truth. Governor Abbott is very concerned, obviously, about what he thinks is his next political career move. And, it's our opinion that he sits in the back rooms and says, look, we can't shut football down because too many voters in the state of Texas want football. So let's find a path forward for football. Obviously, school for our children is essentially important. Let's find a path forward for schools. With the Shelley Luther disaster for him, public relations disaster with the closing of salons when that became a national news story. Let's reopen the salons and have, services where people are, in contact physically with people and nails. And we want everything open. This isn't to say that, other business sectors should be closed. Yeah. But it seems like if you have, the right lobby and enough people and enough, influence with Governor Abbott, your businesses remain open. While I guess, it's a calculated decision that he's betting on that while, the closing of bars might anger some, that, he feels like that's something he can hang his hat on, that he was doing something for the people of Texas. But what he's done is he's an anti-business governor, and he's shut down permanently thousands and thousands of businesses and over 100,000 plus employees in this very important to the Texas economy.
Percentage-wise, how many bars and you could put nightclubs into this as well? Places where live music is performed.
License.
Yeah. How many of those percentage-wise would you say have already closed in Texas, and how many do you think are on the brink?
So I would say, based on our membership, which is statewide, 4 digits worth of members from El Paso to Orange, from the Red River to the Valley, so we cover the whole state. I would say that 30% of our membership will never be able to return. Those businesses are permanently closed, and with each passing day and week that we get now, almost into October, where they're not able to reopen, I think we could see a catastrophic 50% of the 51% licenses that existed before March will not reopen.
Yeah. Michael, where can people get more information about, what you guys are doing, how they can help, if there's any way they can help? How can people get more information?
Sure. Please go to tvna.org. And also, the best thing to do is to reach out. Let Governor Abbott's office know. Call your local congressman, because they listen. And I promise you that they keep tally, in the governor's office of saying, oh, wow, people do care about this, and this is an important aspect of, our town or our city's, fabric, the pub that we like going to, the sports bar we like going to watch the Cowboys or the Texans. So please reach out to your elected official and let them know that you care.
And it's not only, going and watching the game on TV. I mean, you think about, all these nightclubs where you have Texas music and where, you have these musicians who are going out on, whether it's Lubbock, whether it's Austin, whether it's the Dallas-Fort Worth area and other places. I mean, you've got these live music venues that have been shut down. And for a lot of Texans, hey, that's another cultural way of life, is Texas live music, and that's been closed down in this state in many cases.
And look, I've been to the Depot and enjoyed many great times in the Depot in Lubbock, and I can't think of anything that could be more catastrophic than for people who come or who live and enjoy going to the Depot or other entertainment areas in Lubbock, and for those businesses to be shuttered permanently. Because while things eventually will recover, and we're Americans, we're Texans, and people will move forward, it takes a long time. And, the effects of those businesses not being in, that affects everybody, from the salesman who sells them paper towels and lemons and limes, to the laundry delivery service that cleans their bar towels. So it's a very reaching effect into your local community.
Yeah, absolutely. Michael Klein with the Texas Bar and Nightclub Alliance. Appreciate your time today. TBNA, folks, you can look it up and you can get more information there. Michael, thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Have a great weekend.
I mean, you hear that nearly, if this keeps going on, 50%. 50%, and that's just their membership, Jody. That's not every bar. I mean, that's just their membership. 50% could go out of business. You're probably looking at even, maybe more than that. And, I know there are some of our listeners out there who don't, like bars and all that. You think about all the jobs connected to it. And I thought he brought up a good point. You look at the distributors. You look at, all the different services that go into a bar or into a nightclub and how many jobs are impacted by that. And it just seems the governor of Texas doesn't give a damn. Yeah,
that's exactly what it seems. It's a crime as far as I'm concerned.
It's pathetic. And we've got a tweet. I want to get to this before I know we're running long on this break, but this tweet from Chip Roy, congressman, and he sent this tweet out yesterday. If the state of Texas is not going to let bars, distilleries, wineries, live music venues, breweries, and others open up and make a living and provide jobs, then Texas is going to have to make them whole. Or is Texas going to make them whole for the taking? Texas must get out of the way and make them whole, or both. In other words, you got to start paying these people. You've got to, I know the Austin City Council, they're using Austin, taxpayer money out of Austin to pay some of these bar owners. It's not even, it's the state that has shut them down. And when we had Congressman Arrington on the show, weeks ago, and I asked him about this very issue, and even he said, listen, these people need to get paid. If these bar owners are out, they need to get money because the government has shut them down. It's not their fault that the government shut them down. The government just shut them down and left them hanging. And that is like you said, it's a crime. It is. It's disgusting.
You're taking away, by decree, everything these people have worked a very large portion of their lives to develop, cultivate, and do good legal business with. Yeah. And you're just, by decree, saying, well, you're out, and you may be able to come back into business someday. Maybe not.
Well, hell, the governor has said there's no way you can have a pandemic in a bar. There's no way you can have a bar atmosphere during a pandemic. So, I mean, if you take the governor's word and you extend that, okay, well, the pandemic's not going to be over till next year, right? Because we're not going to have a vaccine until next year, widely distributed. So we're going to be shut down. We're going to shut down bars until mid-2020 or mid-2021. There's no way. Chad Hasty Show, KFYO.